Y'all took Doomed by the Narrative a little bit too seriously. Hey, it's Allie, welcome back to my channel, and please, just leave my son alone. I remember last season's jokes were all like, haha, MK's definitely gonna need therapy after that one. It's not a joke anymore. Season 5 of Lego Monkie Kid just came out, and if you're new here, hi, hello. Let me explain to you what this show is. Lego Monkie Kid is a Lego show based off of the Lego IP, Lego Monkie Kid, which is based off of stories from Journey to the West. Sung Wukong is the questionable mentor to MK, a guy who he trains essentially just to clean up a lot of Wukong's messes. But don't worry, next season it gets to be macaque's messes. And we have so much to get into, but like that is a place I would like to start. So if at any time you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, because I make videos like this all the time. And comment down below. You know, I always do comment down below what you think is gonna happen next, but I think I'm gonna do a full-fledged theory video with you guys in it, so look out for that. But for this one, I want you to comment down below what you would give MK for like some therapy. I think he'd be really responsive to art therapy. So I'd give him like a weighted blanket and, you know, a good sketchbook, a good thick sketchbook, and one of those like markers, like the paint markers, the fancy like TikTok viral like paint markers that he could use in those sketchbooks. I think he would really enjoy that. And let's get into it. Surprise to no one, me and Wukong still have beef. This season, he decided he wanted to tell MK nothing. Like, at least in the previous seasons, he would allude to something and MK would eventually figure it out. This one, he was just like, I don't think I'm gonna. Now, feel free to debate me in the comments politely, but it feels like to me, well, yes, he was trying to protect MK from the entire idea of following your destiny and being forced down a path that maybe you don't necessarily agree with. I feel like at least in the beginning, it was kind of a cover-up for his own feelings of not wanting to be one of Destiny's pawns. And again, instead of just telling MK this and being like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I understand the idea and the duty and the amount of weight that is put on your shoulders to protect this world and to protect the people you love. I understand that. However, you don't have to subscribe to that. That's not a thing you have to do. I clearly didn't do it, and neither should you. And I think that honestly would have opened up a really good like tension between the two throughout the entire season, instead of kind of just this like Wukong being like, oh, I don't know, I'm gonna like say something and then never finish my sentence, sorry. I think it would have been a lot better if he did tell MK and MK was like, so you abandoned everyone. Got it, okay. And then that was like a little bit of rift between them. Maybe it was a little too much for this season because MK was already going through it, so he didn't need to go through it with Sun Wukong either, and they already had their whole thing like last season as well. So, you know, maybe it's for the best that didn't happen, but it would have been, I would have been less annoyed with Wukong, let's just say that. Because we start to piece together through Wukong's inability to tell MK anything about his lineage. And of course that very suspicious fight he had with macaque.
And they're not finished. Are you, bud?
You were a villain 5 minutes ago, and now you're telling me how to—
Thank you, Alejandro Saab. You are a true hero. And of course, the thing that he is hiding is the fact that the entire idea of the cycles breaking and there's a harbinger of chaos coming from this little monkey crack and everything also very much so applies to Sun Wukong as much as it applies to MK. In fact, it's a little theory I have that like, I mean, I feel like this is pretty obvious in the show, but like, you know, come at me, you know, like let's talk about it. But it feels like Sun Wukong was supposed to be the person who resets the cycle and sacrifices himself to reset the cycle. And then MK was supposed to do something way later. But it's okay because he absolutely does pull through in the end, you know, as he tends to do in these seasons. But in a very heart-wrenching way, which we will get to. We will get to it later. Now, character-wise, this season gave me everything that I wanted. I love some good character writing, but I guess the writers go off the law of equivalent exchange, because in order to get that beautiful character writing, I had to have my heart ripped out of my chest every 5 seconds, and MK could just never be happy. Like, oh, you just want PLEASEEE calling MK his son finally, and having these cute little father-son moments throughout the entire season? Boom, MK gets a whole bunch of bad dreams in the next scene. OMG, they built Sun Wukong a house and macaque even got to be a part of the building process. Get collared, idiot. Ooh, OMG, Sun Wukong and macaque interactions. It's a fight or a very tense conversation. Okay, thanks. Thanks, friends. Also, random fun fact, but macaque is shorter than Wukong, canonically. I don't know what to do with that information. Do with that information as you will. Just thought I'd share with the class. Anyway, back on topic, this season heavily follows MK as he deals with his place in the grand cosmos of things, which, like, aren't we all? Now, as we've learned from the last season, the Jade Emperor is gone, and now that the Jade Emperor is gone, reality is still falling apart. Remember in the last season that we defeated Azure Lion and everything was cool, fine, and dandy? No, things are still falling apart at the seams. The 10 Kings tell MK and others that the Pillar of Heaven is broken and it cannot be repaired. And because of that, MK and friends have to pay for their crimes against humanity. Nesha shows up, which, like, he is baby girl. He is the baby girl of baby girls. Like, he is always in this, like, upset state, in this upset pouty state. You are baby girl. You are baby girl. And his father shows up, Li Jing, who is also kind of baby girl. Li Jing is also kind of baby girl if you really sit there and think about it, okay? And Macaque, of course, knows things that he doesn't want to share with the class. He'll share with Wukong, but he won't share it with the class. And I'm like, it's clear. He wants Wukong to be the one to, like, tell MK about literally anything. And he's just like, you need to tell him, you need to tell him what? I would like to know. The class would like to know. Hello? Li Jing is like, I hate you all and I'm not getting paid enough for this, because he's keeping the Jade Emperor's power at bay for now as reality is tearing itself apart. He tries to capture Sun Wukong and friends, and Macaque valiantly sacrifices himself, okay, to make sure that MK and Sun Wukong can get away. But of course, not before putting a nice little collar on Wukong, which doesn't really do anything for, like, a good moment. Like, he uses it a couple of times. It comes in a major way later, like in the last couple episodes of the season, which, like, girly we'll get to, but it's kind of just there as kind of this reminder that there is something above you. I kind of like that idea for Wukong, like there is something above you putting you in your place, and at some point you willingly put this thing on you. Don't forget that. Don't forget that he willingly got that thing on him at some point. Ooh. Also, I really love the gags in this season. The Ace Attorney bit, mwah, mwah. I love it so much. I guess I really thought that this was going to be a little bit of a time skip season, like not like huge time skip, but like a little bit of time has passed. I thought that that was going to have happened because this picks up exactly where the last season left off, which makes sense because reality is gone. The idea of there being no Jade Emperor to kind of keep reality and the Pillar of Heaven together, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense that reality would then immediately fall apart. But I guess because I'm so used to being like, oh, and then like 6 months later and they're still trying to figure stuff out. They're like, no, this is happening right now, which I think is good for kind of this closing of one chapter and the opening of another with MK and his whole thing, which we'll get to later. I have a whole section dedicated to him, don't worry. And it's really good for storytelling, but like not so good for MK's mental health. So of course the Pillar of Heaven is broken, but there's always a way to fix it. And there are these 5 stones that can be brought together to put the Pillar of Heaven, I guess, back together or like protect it again, something along those lines. And this time the whole crew, and I do mean the whole crew because it includes Sandy this time, and Sandy got a whole episode low-key dedicated to him. Was it heart-wrenching? Yes, but still, we got a whole Sandy episode and I loved it. They all insist on going on this journey with him because of course that's family right there. That's their family right there. They're not just gonna leave MK high and dry, despite the fact that MK still believes that he has to carry all of this on his back by himself. Pigsy is in full dad mode the entire season, and which of course makes the old man Yowie even better. Every conversation that Tang and Pigsy had, like they still, when they were climbing up that mountain, like Tang was like, oh no, there's a mountain, we gotta climb it. And Pigsy was like, I'm not taking you up this mountain. I'm not carrying you up this mountain. Sandy could have easily carried Tang up that mountain. But no, it was Pigsy that had to do it. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay, before we continue, we have to talk about the visuals. So, of course, one of the biggest contentions was the fact that this season, the animation had been passed over to Wild Brain Studios, known for animating the newest seasons of Ninjago. Now, of course, the animation is going to be different. However, it is not bad by any metric, any stretch of the imagination. The animation is actually quite good. I loved a lot of the effects that they did, especially with the reality tearing itself apart. I love the fact that sometimes it was just on the screen, like an overlay on the screen, and not like on like the actual objects, like they would be on the objects, but the fact that it was on the screen really gave it that feeling of like kind of like uneasiness and uncanniness, and like the world is falling apart. Like this was a thing that was like on the lens of a camera rather than it being in the actual world, like in the actual world itself, which it was, if that makes any sense at all. I really liked that effect. Of course, the eyeballs, it's one of the first things I noticed in the first episode in the theme song was the little eyeball thing. Yeah. And I can't wait to see where they go with this. Of course, there wasn't like too many fights in this season. Like unlike last season, it was just full on brawl. Maybe with the specials, I don't know if we're gonna get specials this season, but if we do, maybe that will have like a little bit more fights, a little bit more oomph to it, who knows. But there weren't that many fights to like judge based off of that. I also don't want to compare because I just feel like that's not a good thing to do. So I'm not going to compare like, oh wow, Brain Studios did it like this when like Flying Bark did it like that. No, I just was, people were worried about if the animation was good. It's good, okay? Yes, it is different because of the tweening effect stuff that they do with the character stuff, but it's not that noticeable after a while. Like you really have to be staring at the characters to really notice it. You kind of have to let it bother you, if like to let something like that bother you. To me, it's fine. Like I don't see any problem with like tweening animation like that. If you do, okay, but like I don't think they did it in like a way that was like ugly or bad or anything. So that's the last time I'm going to mention like anything about the fact that the animation is different. Yes, it is different, but it is nowhere near bad. People were really acting like the apocalypse was coming. Like it's kind of crazy the way y'all were acting about this. It wasn't even that serious. So each stone is technically dedicated to a trial that a hero would have to go on to prove themselves worthy of carrying the stones and putting the pillar of heaven back together. However, we are running out of time, and I love this. I love the fact that they could have just went back to form. They could have just went on this little mini adventure to get all the stones, and MK is struggling, which he does. He struggles with the fact that he is he's afraid of the chaos monkey that is inside of him, that is him, right? He's afraid of that. And we could have spent the entire season going through that, right? He could have, every trial could have been something related to him finding that, but they fixed that in one episode. They said, hey, sit down, you need to figure yourself out because you can't get very far. You keep ignoring this thing that is an integral part of you. I said in my last video about Lego Monkey Kid, which was like a year ago, oh my god, but it was about the Azure Lion and how much parallels that them, MK and him like show to each other. And I was saying that it would be nice to see MK kind of struggle with the power that he now has with that, and I still think that, and we'll get into that a little bit later when I get into the full MK mode, but I think this was kind of the setup for that, because MK can't really use this chaos monkey power until he comes to terms with the fact that he even has it in the first place. But yeah, the Guardians were like, we don't have time for this, so I'm glad you figured out yourself that you know what you need to do, which of course is like his destiny, what he believes to be his destiny, and what he believes to be the path that's laid out before him that he has to go down, right? And nobody is able to explain it to him or anything like that, because again, the world is falling apart, and all of the deities are just kind of like, I'll see you in the next cycle, bro. I'll see you later. And I love that that raises the stakes like exponentially. It also gives MK his own like prophecy and his own storyline to go down, because of course we've usually had MK kind of just going through what Sun Wukong went through, but now it seems like they're deliberately pushing away from that so that MK can have his own like new stories to tell. And I like that a lot. And I'm glad we got my episode with Sandy. I love you, big man. My big man that has probably been to jail before. So of course a moment that stood out to me was of course the May and Red Sun episode. Red Sun and Red Sun family crumbs. Yes, thank you. I miss them so much. But I love this little characterization for May where like she also is struggling with the fact that she has this great power inside of her and she has no idea if she is going to be able to live up to it, and it's a very scary thing. And I love that parallel to MK for that, like the fact that she does have this really big power in her, the Samadhi fire, and she is very scared that like she is not going to be able to control it or wield it properly or any of those things. And of course Red Sun like helps her out with that, and there's a little fire sprite to go along with that. It was cute. Oh my god, it was so cute. And of course that specific episode cut between Pigsy and Tang, like the old man Yowie is yowing, and then of course Pixie having like a breakdown about the fact that he can't be there for his son and how much he like really wants to be there for his son and like show his son that he can't do this all alone, but he also feels powerless. I think powerlessness is like the overarching theme of this, and this idea that you're kind of just on this path and you can't really do anything about it. The idea that you can't help the person you want to help because you're not strong enough. Like, oh, every character like goes through that in this season. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then the line, Pixie's line.
Maybe Destiny did choose MK. So what? You chose him, and he chose you.
Like, should I just address my therapy to you guys, Lego writing team? Should I just like bill the therapy to you? Because you're gonna be paying for my therapy. That line crushed me. I actually like started shedding tears. It was, oh my god, that fucking line. And Nesha, of course, is after them a lot, and he just keeps popping up. He has a mech now. He has a cute little mech, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I know, like, the whole point was like, oh, we have a new toy for you guys to buy. It's $140. Maybe I wanted it, but whatever. It's not like I needed that money anyway. But it looks really cool, so I can't even blame you. Like, Nesha, like, his only role in this is to just be baby girl and show up in a mech. Like, and I love that for him. MK quickly realizes that the 5th stone is the Jade Emperor's power, so he decides to get everybody. He said, guys, you gotta trust me on this one. And everybody gets sucked into Li Jing's pagoda. That's what it's called. The pagoda, which is basically a really big jail. And look who's there in a prison jumpsuit. But first, a word from our sponsors. Yeah, sponsors. It's just me. It's just me. I'm the sponsor. You thought I actually had a sponsor? No. I'm just here to plug my itch.io. If you don't know, I make games. Hi. Hi, I make games, and I'm actually currently in a game jam like right now. And also I've been learning Godot recently, and also I just finished a game with a couple of friends from my last semester. So my itch.io, hopefully by the time this video comes out, will be completely updated with at least 2 new games. The 3rd one will come at the end of the month, and I'll let you know when that happens. So hey, be on the lookout for that if you want some cute free games to play. I would love to see it. And of course, I would love to do more video game like analysis and talk about content on here. I know I've done it in the past with like a lot of indie horror games, but if there's any other like games you want me to cover or like play, I can play it on stream and then make a video about it. I did play Indigo Park and then just never made a video about it. So if you would like to hear a video about it, I have a lot to say. So if you would like to hear a video about it, let me know down in the comments. And then also lastly, I have an art Instagram now. This Instagram is different from my normal Instagram. You can find it on my regular Instagram. I'll also put it in the description and on the screen and all that. This Instagram is purely for posting art. I've been getting really serious about digital like 2D art recently, to the point where I may be selling some stickers and prints by the end of the year. Who said that? Who said that? But yeah, so I will post stuff there. Any updates about games and stuff that I'm making will also get posted there, so you should go check that out. Okay? That's it. Plug over. Remember when people were really trying to dog on the trailer for this season by saying that Macaque is going to turn into Fan and Macaque? Joke's on you, he was barely in this season. I swear every line that he had in this season was pretty much just like, oh, but you, like, it was like a sentence that never got finished. Like, he would want to say something and then stop himself from saying something, or he would get cut off from saying something. Also, very interesting, he had, like, the little eye demons, like, do this thing where they make them relive, like, their nightmares and their, like, worst memories and things like that. And I would like to know what Sun Wukong and Macaque saw. I would like to know. I would very much so like to know. But Macaque is like extra mysterious this season. I remember when we first saw him, it was like, oh, he's such a mysterious guy. And like now he's like, oh no, he is like actually mysterious. Like what's going on here? And it's all a setup, of course, for the next season, which brings me into the like plot twist of this season, which is the snake guy. So this snake guy was like an infiltrator. He's like a little also a harbinger of chaos, and he infiltrated the Ten Kings, was pulling the strings, also apparently pulled the strings so far back that he let MK out of his little monkey stone early before he was even supposed to, which put everything in motion to lead up to where it is now. And also apparently he was also the one who let Azure Lion out of the scroll that he was in. Who is this guy? We don't know yet. He's just a guy. He's just a guy who apparently felt the like pull of chaos at some point and wanted to tell everybody, hey, there's like this cool thing out there called chaos, and we should totally just dive headfirst into it. And everybody was like, no, why would we do that? And he got pissed off, and now he was stuck here. I don't know how he got stuck. Like, I don't know why he couldn't have just left again. I don't know, but he was pissed off about it. He was pissed off about it because he thought he knew what was best for humanity and just everybody in general. No one knows who this guy is. Like, Sun Wukong doesn't know no one knows who he is. He kind of is just there, and he's like, I've been pulling the strings the whole time, and everyone's like, okay. But he's just like, MK, I just wanted to give you a choice. And he's like, you think you don't have a choice, but you do have a choice. Your choice is between give in to chaos or fix the pillar and sacrifice yourself. Okay, but the reason why I bring him up in this macaque section is because he walks up to macaque. Macaque fights him for like half a second, and he's just like, oh, and who did you sell your soul to get that power? Huh? What? Like, you want to explain that for a second? And macaque is confused and is like, what are you talking about? And he's just like, oh, we don't have time for this one. See you in the next season. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to this last section where we will talk about MK. So MK, love him, love my boy, my son. He obviously is going through it at this point. We need to stop asking MK if he's okay. Clearly the answer is no. He has this immense pressure of holding the entire weight of the universe on his shoulders, and he believes, of course, that he has to do it alone. And of course he doesn't have to do it alone. He realizes the world is ending. The world is ending, and he, you know, sacrifices himself to the pillar of heaven, I guess, to save the pillar of heaven, to bring reality back together. However, he realizes pretty quickly when he meets the person who is essentially his mother. What is her name? I wrote her name down. This like mystical goddess lady named Nua. She's basically just like, hey, so yeah, about that. Yes, we will be fixing the world, but by fixing the world, really what we're doing is we're resetting it back to its original point, which like, hey, or like starting a new cycle rather, which like resets everything pretty much. Don't you think that's kind of a band-aid solution to the problem? Because it seems like eventually, inevitably, the cycle will break in reality. The pillar of heaven will break, and it'll all have to start over again. So you're saying this is inevitable, that this pillar breaking, the cycle breaking is inevitable to happen. And what will happen is just the world gets reset a little differently every time. I feel like that's a band-aid solution to this, no? Maybe I'm understanding this wrong, but I feel like it's a little bit of a band-aid solution to just be like, we'll just reset the world every time. So nothing really changes, which explains why MK, like, I really like this setup, because we're like, oh, MK is finally getting his own villains. He's getting his own, like, story that isn't just a rehashing of Sun Wukong's story. It's so interesting the way they display it here, because they display it as, oh, the canonical reason why MK is rehashing Sun Wukong's old stuff is because this is a new cycle, but the cycle is largely the same. Meaning that the same things are happening over and over and over again every single cycle, just slightly differently. Like, everything is the same but different. And so when MK realizes that the cycle is going to be reset, all of his friends will still exist in a sense, but not in the way that they do now. They will not know each other. They will not probably be the same people that they were, and meaning they won't probably all be friends in the next life. And he's just like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want that. And also nobody can consent to that happening. That is just a thing that you are forcing upon these people. And so finally in that, he's like, I want to choose a secret third thing. I'm just not gonna do it. Nuh-uh. He literally says, nuh-uh. And Nua's like, okay, that's a bad idea, but I guess I can't, like, she can't stop him, so that's what he decides to do. And he realizes that, of course, he doesn't have to do this alone. You know, the whole, like, crux and, like, theme of the show is powerlessness, and then through community, you are no longer powerless. So he's just like, well, what if we just share all of this? Which brings up a really interesting point about the fact that the idea of all of these mythical people is the fact that they are not hoarding this power, but they are trying to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. But in doing so, it constantly falls into the wrong hands. So I think in this way, they kind of like spread the power, spread the love, you know? And yes, will that cause more problems? Yes, but will it equal out? I had talked about a lot in the last season about this idea of balance, and that MK will have to in the future go through this kind of balancing act with learning how to use the Chaos Monkey's power. running from chaos and trying to bring order to everything and enforce this order is what brought them to this place in the first place, and seemingly what keeps bringing them to this place in the first place. So maybe having a little bit of chaos in there isn't so bad. Speaking of, the last thing the snake dude says, because he drags MK to the brink of chaos and is just like, this is where it's at, my guy. And MK is like, I don't know what that is. And he's also just like, oh, you also awoken the beast. I awoken the beast? No, you did. You did. What chaos beast are we talking about? I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the next season. And he just pushes MK away. And I guess he does a little swan dive into the chaos, and he feels all good now. I hope he's happy wherever he is, because he seemed miserable. Also, he was upset that MK figured it out and it was the power of friendship. And he was upset about it because he was like, no, if I could have saved the world, I would have done it by now. Just say you have no friends. Like, it's very clearly like that's what it was. The fact that he didn't have any friends, whether by of his own volition or something just happened to him that made him have no friends. Sorry. MK's built different though. He has friends. So they end up spreading the 5 stones between all of them, and they get it together. It was a very... So I skipped over a part that like... So before all of this, when MK is sacrificing himself, Sun Wukong is like, oh, well, they just need a harbinger of chaos. I am also that because we come from the same stone. So I'm gonna go because it was probably my job to begin with to protect this world in this cycle, and I failed. So I'm gonna go do it, which is like, okay, thank you, Sean Chamel, for your thank you. Oh my god, the voice acting was crazy this season. And then MK is just like, no, and he uses the Jade Emperor's power that he got from the 5th stone to do the little thingy on Sun Wukong's head and cause him to stay in place. When I tell you I screamed, the scream I scrumped, I was, oh, and we just didn't talk about it. It just happened, and it's not a thing that we talked about. But oh my god, that was fucked up. Oh my god. Okay. All right, buddy. So it obviously, right after, MK is just like, nah, I'd rather the world to end with my friends and give them the choice of this rather than to force them into a new world where they won't know themselves or each other. So he just decides to come back, and it's like, you know, see you at the end of the world. He's just like embracing the end of the world with his friends, and that's when he gets the idea of the like 5 gems and like whatever. So what this ends up doing is spreading the power of these gems and just power in general, like mythical power, to everybody in the world. So now everybody has some type of mythical magical power, which of course you can see how this would be a setup for another season, another like weekly episodic like season where the characters, they go fight off like a crazy person who probably wants to like spread evil about, and it, you know, there's a lot you can do with that. So like it's pretty obvious like why they did that. Like they needed to open up the world even more, because so far everything has been pretty contained with just Sun Wukong and like nothing else, or at least his stories and things that are happening, and that of course affects the world, but we haven't really seen more of the world. So I can't wait for that, and I also can't wait for the playsets that are gonna come out that I'm not gonna be able to afford because of it. Nice. Oh, it's so hard out here. It's so hard out here. It's like My Hero Academia or something. Also, speaking of, the idea that the chaos monkey inside of MK is something that he was afraid of, but is an integral part of him and something that he's gonna have to learn how to control and use wisely, reminds me of Naruto, like a lot. And I can see an entire, again, I still stand by the theory that the next season will be MK kind of using that power, maybe abusing that power a little bit, and learning how to like balance it out, and the chaos versus order and all those things inside of him. So, of course, from a production standpoint, what that does is closes one door while simultaneously opening 10 others. Like, of course, random strangers having superpowers is gonna cause some issues. Oh my god, it is just like My Hero Academia. Okay, all jokes aside, this was a phenomenal season, and I'm so glad we got a nice little tie-up bow to this era of MK, and we're kind of like stepping into a new era. Like, this was definitely a transitional period season, and a lot of times, especially in cartoons, transitional period seasons can be very, very bad. I'm looking at you, Dragon Prince, like, oh my god. There was a transitional season in that show that made me drop the entire show, and I haven't watched it since. Like, and so transitional periods, especially for longer running shows, can really be hit or misses, and this one was a hit. It was a hit. It gave us everything we wanted, especially in character writing, and now it's opening up an entire new world. I will say the addition of the snake guy really abruptly and like really randomly seemed really random and chaotic, if you will. But also I can kind of see how they kind of needed to introduce a new character in order to push them into this new age of this new era of whatever's going to happen next with the whole chaos thing. And of course the little thing that like Sun Wukong did at the end there, looking at the staff, because the staff is like has some type of like chaos power in it. So now MK gets to deal with that, but at least we get more macaque. I'm always down for some more macaque. So yeah, despite the fact that the chaos guy was kind of shoehorned in there as kind of like this like MacGuffin guy of like, hey, I'm the reason everything went to shit. It's like, okay, yeah, who are you though? But it does bring up intrigue because I do want to know who this oh my god, I do want to know who this character is. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see until next season. Or maybe the specials. It'd be really interesting if the specials were about this character. If we even get specials this season. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did, you are a real one. Oh my god, I cannot speak. Don't know if you could tell, but I'm a little sick. I don't know what it is with me and getting sick in the summer. I don't usually get sick during the winter anymore. It's only during the summer because global warming. Our world is on fire. How about yours? You know, the constant change in temperature just like messes me up so bad. So thank you for bearing with me during this. You can come catch me on all of my social medias, and like I said, I will put my itch page and my new art Instagram down below. Yeah, I keep promising to stream and then it just doesn't happen. So if I stream, hey, put your bell notifications on and catch me when I stream. I stream here on YouTube. That's all I can say. When it happens. Anyway, let me know about any shows, movies, games that you want me to cover down below. And hey, let me know how you felt about this season, of course. And I will be doing a video that will probably be a follow-up to this about theories. And I will want you guys to like, you know, be a part of that. So definitely put your bell notifications on, because I will send out a form that lets you guys put in your theories of what you think is going to happen in the next season. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Love and peace.